Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to Bhagavad Gita Chapter 2, dramatic reenactment recited in Sanskrit and English with text and translation from Swami Tadatmananda. I know in the last one someone requested me to do more of these, but I'm sorry I had to do one at a time. It's torturing me. I think I will actually, when I get closer towards the middle, I might have to keep rewatching the first couple. But anyways, this is just going to be the English portion of it. If you want to watch the Sanskrit portion, please go to Swami Tadatmananda's channel and watch from the very beginning. But anyways, let's go and get started. So it's in the bridge for clarity. That's another thing I was wondering. There's like 25 minutes of Sanskrit, but there's only like about 11 for English. I'm like,
Then Lord Krishna did thus address Arjuna, sunk in deep despair, with eyes downcast and full of tears, overcome by his tenderness.
O Arjuna, how can you be disheartened at this crucial time? Your impious and shameful mood will bring you down in great disgrace. Yield not to this unmanliness, for it befits you not at all. Cast off this mean faint-heartedness. Arise and fight, O Arjuna.
O Krishna, how can I oppose Bhishma and Drona in this war? How can I pierce with arrows sharp those worthy of my reverence? Rather than slaying such great men, better to live a life of alms, since by killing them I would gain their wealth and treasure stained with blood. By weakness I am overcome. As to Dharma I am confused. Tell me for certain what is best. I am your student, teach me please.
After saying, I shall not fight, silently Arjuna did sit. Then Lord Krishna began to speak, with a slight smile upon his lips.
You mourn those who need not be mourned, yet you speak words of wisdom too. The truly wise mourn not for those who are dead and those yet to die.
sorry, I'm gonna pause. You mourn those who need not be mourned, yet you speak words of wisdom too. Which I was gonna say, yeah, it was kind of sad. Sorry if I interrupt, but please, again, if you want to watch this uninterrupted, you're on the wrong channel. You should go to Swami Tadatmananda channel and watch it there. You mourn, like, why do you mourn those who need not to be mourned? Maybe perhaps it's because they're doing their dharma, their duty. You shouldn't mourn people who are doing their jobs. You should praise them, because that's what their purpose is. They're doing what they should be doing and what they want to do. The truly wise mourn not for those who are dead and those yet to die. The truly wise mourn not for those who are dead and those yet to die.
Never have I existed not, nor have you, nor these kings of men, nor shall we ever cease to be in the future, in later lives.
Okay, you don't need to mourn because we don't exist. This is not reality. The reality is we're all Brahman, we're all one, and this is merely a play.
The one who in this body dwells, through childhood, youth, and in old age, will then another body gain. In this the wise are not confused. These bodies destined to expire, all possess an eternal soul, indestructible beyond thought. Therefore go fight, O Arjuna, neither born nor subject to death, The soul will never cease to be, eternal and immutable, living on when the body dies. Just as one casts away worn clothes, dressing again in new attire, so too when old bodies expire, a soul acquires others new. Not by weapons can it be pierced, nor by fire can it be burned, not by waters can it be wet, nor by winds can it withered be. Unmanifest beyond all thought, unchanging thus our souls describe. Therefore, knowing this to be so, you have no reason now to mourn. Death is certain for all those born. Birth is certain for all who die. Since this is inevitable, you have no reason now to mourn.
I mean, death is certain for all those born. Birth is certain for all those who die. Yeah, I mean, that's true, but do we have to all die so young? I guess that's the reason why we mourn, but then at the same time, when you realize that earlier it stated that the fact, much like worn clothes, we get a new clothes. Much like this body dies, we get a new body.
Also, with your dharma in view, you should remain unwavering, because for warriors nothing is worthier than a righteous war. But if you now refuse to fight in this battle most virtuous, you will forfeit dharma and fame by committing this grievous sin. Great warriors will despise your name, thinking you yielded due to fear. Your enemies with vicious words will degrade you, a dreadful shame. If you die, heaven you will gain. If you win, the kingdom is yours. Therefore stand up, O Arjuna, and be resolved to fight the war. Thus far of wisdom I have spoke, of karma yoga listen now, practicing which you shall be freed from the bondage of all your deeds. Those who seek but pleasure and power, attached to Vedic rituals, obsessed with heavenly rewards, their hearts will never be at peace. Like a pond in a mighty flood, water surrounding everywhere, such is the worth of Vedic rites for one who knows the highest truth. Actions alone you can control, but their results you cannot choose. Be not the author of the fruits, yet to inaction be not drawn. Give up attachment to results. Act instead with this attitude. Treat success and failure alike. Yoga is equanimity. Lowly are those who think themselves to be the authors of the fruits. Arjuna, you should seek support in Karma Yoga's principles. By this yoga the wise renounce attachment to their works' results. Freed from the bondage of rebirth, they reach the state beyond all grief.
O Krishna, please describe to me the nature of enlightened ones. How do the steady-minded speak? How do they sit and move about?
O Arjuna, when they forsake all cravings born of their own minds, content in themselves with the self. Such are they whose wisdom is firm, with minds untroubled by distress, free from thirst for the world's delights, having no cravings, fear, or rage. Such are they whose wisdom is firm, rejoicing not in pleasant times, nor detesting adversity, free from every attachment here. Such are they whose wisdom is firm, as a tortoise withdraws its limbs. All their senses are drawn away from the objects that they perceive. Such are they whose wisdom is firm, even for those of wisdom vast, who strive to practice self-control. Their minds can be carried away by the senses so turbulent, dwelling on objects in the world. To them attachment does arise, from attachment desire stems forth, from desiring does anger spring, from such anger delusion comes. In delusion values are lost, then reasoning gets overwhelmed. Finally the person is lost.
From such anger, delusion comes, and in delusion, values are lost. Then reason gets overwhelmed. Finally, the person is lost. Wow, yeah, man. I mean, this should be obvious, and it kind of is sometimes when you can see it from an outside's perspective. But to hear it, and to recognize it, and to understand it, it's just a whole different thing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, when you get attached to things, you become... attach, desire, whatever it may be, whatever attachment it is, emotions gets involved and your reasoning gets lost. And then all of a sudden you get all these things where eventually something's gonna snap in you and you're just lost. You get so much attachment, you're gonna do something that you hate, you don't want, you don't like. It's I say I fear now that I think it's happening more and more often in the Western world. At the very least, the Western world, for sure. It's yet somehow it's not so obvious.
But those remaining self-controlled, even when senses clamor strong, free from cravings, despising not, they attain great tranquility, just as wind carries boats astray. Senses can lead wisdom away. Therefore those whose wisdom is firm restrain their senses constantly.
Oh, is that it? Let's listen to the last part real quick.
Senses.
But those remain self-controlled even when senses clamor strong, free from cravings, despising not, they attain great tranquility. Nope, that's not the one.
Clamor strong, free from cravings, despising not, they attain great tranquility.
Those remaining self-control, even when senses clamor strong, free from cravings, despising not, they attain great tranquility. So basically, they have strong self-control, even when their bodily senses are trying to gain power in a sense. They're free from those cravings, those sense cravings, either your hunger, your lust, your desires, all those things are trying to clamor to your senses, you could say, to your who you are, I suppose. But the person is free from those cravings. This is the next line.
Just as
winds carried a boat astray, senses can lead wisdom away. Therefore, those whose wisdom is firm restrained, their senses constantly. Therefore, those whose wisdom is firm restrain their senses constantly. That's interesting. That last part to me is, I didn't think they had. It sounds like there's a battle between their senses and their wisdom. Therefore, those whose wisdom is firm restrain their senses constantly. It's like it's a battle between their desires, their emotions, over their wisdom and logic. I would have never thought that. I would have figured it's not a battle, but more along the lines of acknowledging the senses, these desires, but never, but not, how do I say, fulfilling them. Not bowing down to them unless you want to. So if you have a desire for food, like, I don't feel like it right now. I understand that I want that good food, but I can't afford it. I'll eat something else different. Not having the desire to eat something that's super expensive, knowing logically that you can't afford it for the time, but maybe you save it for next week. Having such control over your desires for things that it's not a battle, but mere acknowledgement of it and having control over it. Again, the point is not a battle. So firm, restrain their sensory constantly. Restrain. Maybe, I don't know if, I guess perhaps that, I don't know if that's the right word to use. Therefore, those whose wisdom is firm restrain their senses constantly. Maybe that is the case. I don't know. A restrain though just seems like it's like a constant fight. Are these people whose wisdom is firm restrain? Unless maybe these are not enlightened beings, but perhaps beings who still are very wise, but still have worldly desires and are constantly trying to restrain it. Maybe that's what they're talking about. Let me rewind. Those remaining self-controlled, even with senses clamor, are strong, free from cravings, despite not. They have attained great tranquility. So this one sounds like those remaining self-controlled whose senses clamor strong, free from cravings, meaning that your desires and all that you're free from that. You don't have those cravings. So this sounds like they are, in a sense, enlightened, or at least the fact that they're not trying to restrain their senses. Like the second phrase here, therefore those whose wisdom is firm restrain their senses constantly. It's like I'm having to fight it all the time. Whereas the other one, I'm just free from it. I don't have to fight it at all. So let's rewind. I guess we'll rewind that last part. Sorry, the video's over with, by the way. I should have said it a little bit earlier.
Reasoning gets over well. Finally, the person is lost. But those remaining self-controlled, even when senses clamor strong, free from cravings, despising not, they attain great tranquility. Just as wind carries boats astray, senses can lead wisdom away. Therefore, those whose wisdom is firm restrain their senses constantly.
I see. So it went 64 to 67 to 68. So it's missing 65 and 66. There could be some context missing there. So again, this is definitely, like I said in the very beginning of the video, it's an abridged version, a shortened version meant for a little bit easier to understand. However, I may go watch the, at least this portion of the Sanskrit version and see the translation. But I highly encourage you guys to go do that yourselves. But yeah, okay, so there seems like, I don't know if there's missing context there, or maybe it just, those two sentences are in conflict in my mind. One who's completely free from those desires, but yet here we're having these people who are firm in wisdom are still having to constrain their sensory constantly. It says sensory. I'm assuming they're, again, their desires of the world and stuff. Very interesting. A lot of y'all were pretty active in the last one, and I remember asking, I'm guessing the guy with the king, I think is a blind king, if I remember correctly, is hearing what the other person's talking, and is literally transcribing everything that's going on in the battlefield, including what Arjuna and oh my gosh, is it anyway? Transcribing what's going on right here, and I don't know, I haven't made it that far yet in terms of the books. I'm wondering. You think after hearing all this, the king would call it off, saying that, like, why is, I can't remember, is it the battle of his brother? At least the great men. Like, why am I fighting against him? He seems to really care. Does the blind king, not have a heart? Anyways, as we continue to proceed to the chapter, I'm definitely going to have to go back and rewatch 1 and 2 again. And it's gonna, especially if I have to take so long to watch in between all of these, I might have to do back to back to back and just release them as Swami Tadatmananda's videos comes up. So I'm sorry. Anyways, if you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.